As we head towards closure of this morning's edition of News and Views, it's time now to go across to be joined by author and board member of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Dr. Ismail Vadi. We're talking about the book Nothing But the Truth, a portrait of the late Ahmed Timol. Ismail Bhai, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome.
Walaikum salam, Atullah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, doing very well. And yourself?
Alhamdulillah, I'm just on the farm, so I hope the reception and the connectivity is good.
Well, so far so good, Alhamdulillah. I know it is short time to do what is called a book review, but just to provide us with an insight on this book, interesting title, Nothing But the Truth, the portrait of Ahmed Timol.
So really on the request of the Timor family to the Kathrada Foundation, that yes, year the death of to this custody, but this time to commemorate last minute. The question that is important is illustrated of the fact that we still don't know the absolute truth about what he know he was indigent, 27 in second question to his that these officers who were responsible for interrogating him were culpable, but now they have all passed on. And so, whilst the proceedings were underway to try and bring the one survivor to court for him to get this and face charges so that we could perhaps come closer to the truth, he's passed on. So we won't know the absolute truth, but I think it's important to keep alive the memory of Ahmed Timol and the contribution of himself and his family to the freedom struggle in our country.
Certainly, and I see, we're talking about Ahmed Timol, who would have been 80 years old this year and 50 years of his arrest. And we've spoken over and over again to the family. We have followed certain developments as far as Marhum Ahmed Timol goes. And also, the key issue here is, sometimes we have a misunderstanding, but looking at the life of Ahmed Timol and what he had basically achieved, it's important for us to understand who he really was, but also at the same time, with the things like closure for the family, for South Africans, we need to get to the bottom.
Yeah, look, Ahmed Timol, I think, was a passionate young man, deeply concerned about the inequality under apartheid South Africa, the racial discrimination, the class discrimination. And in his early in his life, he was highly politicized, very conscious of the realities of apartheid South Africa. But he reached a point in the mid '96 where he decided to do something about it. So he was a school teacher. We all know that he taught at the Union High School. He was a sports fan, and he was administrator of the famous Dynamos football club. And then at a personal level, he was passionate about his cricket. Here was a young man, he had everything going for himself. He decided to make a choice in life, and that choice was to join the underground movement, the liberation movement. He had gone for Hajj, was recruited there, presumably by Dr. Yusuf Daru, sent for training to the Soviet Union, and then infiltrated back into the country. And he came back, resumed his teaching post at Union High School, and started his political activities in secret. And in a year or two, it was discovered. He started a work lot together with a colleague of his, Salim Esop, who was a student also at the medical school, and they were arrested. And a few days later, they were severely tortured, and Ahmed Timol was killed. Salim Esop, of course, survived the ordeal. In subsequent days, almost 70, 80 people countrywide were detained, and all of them had undergone, different degrees of torture, questioning, etc. It was a terrible period in our history. But for us as a community, here was a young man who gave up his life. We need to commemorate that.
Well, certainly. Now, just looking at obviously this book in terms of its availability, is the book available right now?
The book is printed by the Kathrada Foundation. It's for free distribution. So we've got a hard copy. We've made about 1,000, we've printed 1,000 copies of those. Those are going to immediate supporters of the Kathrada Foundation. But we've also now made it freely available and accessible on WhatsApp, so electronically. And from what I can sense, it's gone out quite far and wide. And we've had very positive feedback because we tried to bring out Billy's story. There's lots of beautiful photographs of him, some new and some that were published previously by his nephew Imtiaz Kaji. But I think all in all, it just brings about a human element to him, and it touches his political role. I think that's important. People know that he was in the underground, but exactly what he did. So more recent research around, particularly from people who were involved in the SACP and ANC underground, they have reflected on the spirit of the early 70s, and I think it brings some new light into what his contribution, what his role was. Then all the subsequent years, in the last 2 years around the interest, etc., that's brought to the fore. I think it begins to give a more complete picture. It's not a full-length book, it is a booklet. It is a popular booklet and it is a commemorative booklet. But I think it does historical value to our interpretation, possibly what happened in the early 1970s in our country.
Well, Ismail Bhai, Jazakallah khairan so much for that and for sharing what you have with us. And I'm sure that, even if it's a booklet, there's just so much useful information. And I think more importantly, in terms of remembering who Ahmed Timol was and also in terms of his legacy. And I'm sure that there are many, many lessons that even future generations can take from his life. So, inshallah, we look forward to obviously having a look at this book, inshallah. But for now, we thank you. We say Jazakallah to you for your time with us this morning. We wish you all the best, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah for the opportunity.
Dr. Ismail Vadi, board member of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, on the book Nothing But the Truth, a portrait of Ahmed Timol. And with that, we've come to the end of this morning's broadcast, another edition of News and Views in the company of Salam Media, Al Ansar, Durban, Pietermaritzburg, and One Nation 88.9 FM out in Polokwane. So until we meet tomorrow once again, for myself and the rest of the team, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries.